Welcome back to Universe. I'm Andrew, and today I'm playing Earthborne Rangers. It's going to be the second day of my campaign playthrough, so if you missed the first one and would like to catch up, there's a link in the description where you can catch up on the background lore, the setting information, and our story so far. That video is about 2 hours long because I was committed to playing a full day of the game. And a day can end kind of when you want it to if you choose to end the day when you travel. The day ends, or if you run out of cards in your deck, you are forced to have the day end. There's a couple ways it can happen as well, but I was kind of committed to maximizing the day, do as much as I could, so I pushed all the way through my deck and ended up running out of cards before I could voluntarily choose to end the day, which meant I didn't have an opportunity to add any of the 2 reward cards I had found, add them into my deck, and it just meant the video was pretty long. So mostly for my own recording and sanity purposes, I'm gonna have to try to keep the recording time per video down, which means I might not be able to play through full days, and I'll have to either end the day early, so to speak, without running through my deck and optimizing it, or I'll have to just split up days into multiple videos, which could make setup and teardown more challenging. But I'm just wondering, in terms of if I did want to end days early, I don't know the ramifications necessarily. So this is my campaign sheet so far, and up at the top is the day tracker, and it's numbered 1 through 30. And I assume that there is a particular story that you'll play through and experience over the course of the campaign, but I don't know how linked that is necessarily to the number of days that it takes you. That is to say, I don't know if I need to be maximizing every day, or if the campaign will kind of give me the leeway to take the time I want, end the day after a few rounds if I want to, without really serious ramifications, or if it's going to get to a certain point where I really need to reaching a climax, but I haven't built up enough something yet. I mean, the game isn't necessarily designed around leveling up, for example, but there are reward cards, and maybe there would reach a point where I'm supposed to be more powerful via reward cards than I am because I haven't done enough missions yet at a certain day checkpoint. I don't know. Inherently, I just have the instinct that I want to optimize every day and do as much as I can, but maybe that would mean I end the campaign in 10 days and I could have had 20 more days to work with. So I don't know the answers yet, but those are the things that are going through my mind. If you have played through and would like to answer that question without spoilers, say something like, oh, you can take as many days as you need, or you should really be optimizing every day. That would be a great bit of information. So let's go ahead and get started. The reward cards I do have are Artel's Vaulting Rod and Ranger Badge. Again, I can't use either of them because I didn't rest via camping. I rested because I ran out of cards in my deck. I have the Biscuit Delivery mission, which is complete. And I have 2 more missions, Search for Lun and Lure Quiet, and those are also both up there. We'll look at those in a second. Other than that, I just know that I'm on campaign day 2, and so the weather is going to be a perfect day. On day 3, there's actually going to be a campaign entry to read as that day starts, but we're definitely not there now. I ended my previous day at the Northern Outpost, so that's where I'll be starting now. Again, this has a presence of 2, which makes it a little bit harder to traverse and dangerous. And it has an action I can do with Focus plus Reason to tidy it up and discard some neglect. So it's going to start with 3 neglect, and I'm going to try to clean it up. And I am going to try to do that today. And when there's no neglect here, I can read 4.1. But also during setup, I need to read this stuff. So I need to read entry 4. We read it last time, or I think I forgot to read it, but I put it on screen. But we'll go ahead and read that again. And that's going to tell me to put the Deep Woods into play, which I've already done. And it's going to tell the lead ranger to draw a path card, which I've done. I haven't revealed it yet, but I played it out so that I'm all ready. And then also just when we start the actual gameplay, starting with the round structure, step 1 is to draw a path card. So I've got that one set out as well. So let's take a look at entry 40. It says, the deep woods. The evergreen woods of the northern mountains consist of massive rotting cedars intermixed with silver firs draped in hanging moss. No light filters down from the canopy, leaving the forest floor a gloomy cathedral, crowded with tree trunks and lichen-covered rocks. You can't see more than a few meters ahead, and all around you, the forest seems completely quiet. All right, sorry, that was the entry for the Deep Woods card. I don't know how, I just had the number 40 in my head. I actually need to read the back. This one here, entry 4. 4 says, Northern Outpost. The hike through the dark and gloomy woods has taken you hours, but you finally reached the Northern Outpost. Read 1. If you fixed up the Northern Outpost, nope. Otherwise, scraps of wood, cloth, leather, and paneling lie scattered about the exterior. After long years of neglect, the forest around seems to press in on the outpost from all sides. Search the Northern Outpost set for the Deep Woods and put it into play. If you haven't gained or completed the Search Lun mission, read the following. But I have gained it, so I'll skip that. And that's what I've got over here. So again, Deep Woods is now put into play. I read the entry for that, and we can see my missions. So I've got basically 3 things I'm going to be trying to do today. One of them is to search for Lun. If I'm not at a ranger station, when a feature comes into play, it gets 2 trail tokens on it. And we'll do that later because I am at a ranger station right now, so I cannot search for Lun here. I also am wanting to lure out Quiet. That is a mission from one of the elders, I believe. So I need to collect prey, and as I clear prey, they will be placed under the lure mission. And when there are 5 prey presents there, and I travel away from wherever I am, I can trigger this. So currently I have none because I've just set up for a new day. I did have several presents, I think 4 or even 5 at the end of the day, but I wasn't able to travel in order to trigger this. So I have to start over. And I went ahead and looked through the path deck that I've set up here, and there's a total of 4. There are 4 Sitka bucks, and each Sitka buck has 1 presence. So if I find and clear all of the Sitka bucks from this location, that'll still only be 4. So I'm going to have to go somewhere else at some point. But I don't really want to leave until I finish tidying it up. So I'll put the 3 neglect counters here, and I'm going to try to clear those off. But first, let's reveal our path cards. Here's an overgrown thicket. It is an obstacle, so I cannot traverse. And I also can't even interact with any cards between, or that is, the obstacle is between me and that thing. So this is going to be, that up arrow means it's going to be placed along the way rather than within reach. And it has 3 harm threshold and 2 per ranger progress threshold. With awareness and exploration, I can hunt for a way through the dense foliage to add progress equal to my effort. So I guess that would be an opportunity if I wanted to use awareness rather than fit, because this basic fit test uses fit and exploration to traverse a location or feature, and this is a feature, and they both add progress equal to my effort. I guess the difference here is the basic traverse test, also you take an injury if you fail. So Overgrown Thickets built-in test does not have me taking injuries if I fail, which is nice. But with a presence of 1, it shouldn't be too challenging. So we'll put that along the way in between me and the surroundings. And then this one here, we've got a Trick of the Light. Interesting. It's got 0 presence. It's got some question marks here. I can clear it with 8 progress, and when I do, I read entry 39. Interesting, but for now, I'm also going to read entry 39. A Trick of the Light enters play if you've met an interloper. I have not, so go to 39.2. You see a dark shadow moving through the trees. You freeze, trying to get a better look at it. The shape seems humanoid, but taller than you, with a slightly forward-sloping posture. It steps into the light for a moment, and you catch a glimpse of a being covered in long fur. Then it steps behind a tree and vanishes. You hurry to the spot where you last saw it, but find nothing. You will have to clear a Trick of the Light with progress to track down the mysterious figure. Go to 39.3. I think that's if I do clear it. All right, 8 progress. That's a lot, though, for a single ranger. So that is also going to be along the way. So nothing is within reach, which is fine. There's nothing in between me and any of the cards I might want to interact with. Well, actually, no, I do want to tidy this up, and I cannot do so while the obstacle is out. So now let's start doing things. We'll go into phase 2 here. Ranger turns, where I can play a card, perform tests, or if I want to, rest. Oh, I forgot to start with my special shaper tool. Let me find my shaper tool thing. The Scepter of Harmony. So this has the setup keyword, which means I should have started with that in play. And it's going to have 1 song on it. So just drop that right there. And some of my cards as a shaper are manifestations, and I cannot manifest them unless I spend songs from my conduit. So I've got 1 right now. After I perform a test in which no challenge effects were resolved, I get to add a song to it. So that's how I build them up. And I can also spend them by exhausting this conduit and to add progress to a being. So the problem I'm having right now is I've got a lot of challenge symbols out, especially the search has 3 different ones. I guess some of them they will never resolve until I actually start dealing with trail tokens. So I guess that's nice. But yeah, having a lot of these colored bands out means I'm gonna be able to collect songs much less often. There's not a lot of serenity going on. So I hope I can clear those out quickly or something. All right, first thing I think I will try to, well, I'm just gonna bring out Riri the Sparrowhawk. That's gonna cost me 2 awareness. I'm gonna spend my 2 awareness I started with 2 because I have this aspect card that starts with 2. She has an exploration icon, but I'm not committing her to a test, so we'll ignore that. She is friendly, so she's not going to hinder me. She's persistent, so she gets to travel with me between locations. She's unique, so I can only have one of her in play. And I can exhaust her to put 1 harm on a being in the same area as she is. She's going to be within reach of me, so there's going to be no other beings there for her to harm. That's fine. She also has that awareness plus reason test that would allow me to survey, to scout the path deck equal to my effort, and then draw a path card that can help me find the prey that I'm looking for. It's not my priority, but she's in my hand. I want to bring her out. I'm going to need to get past the thicket, and I am definitely interested in the Trick of the Light. And the Deep Woods is definitely going to mess me up. If I don't do something about the Deep Woods, it can bring out predators. Predators can come out of the Deep Woods. I don't know if this is a good move. I'm just getting my getting a hang of the game here, but let's play a card. I like playing cards more than spending them to commit to tests, but we'll see how that plays out, if that's a good strategy. But this is going to cost me 2 fit to play this card, so I'm going to spend my 2 fit. And it is a manifestation, which means in order to play this, I have to spend my song, a token from a conduit. I'm going to lose my song. And at the beginning of the first day, I was getting a lot of them and then spending them kind of willy-nilly. And then toward the end of the day, I was not having very much at all. Because a lot of these colored bands, these challenge triggers were coming out. So see how that goes. But this lets me add a progress to each feature and location, and then I can redistribute any number of progress between them. And since I've got 3 features and a location out right now, this is going to be generating 4 for me, which seems pretty good. So I get to put a progress on each feature and location, and then I can redistribute them. And I think I'm just going to move them all to the Deep Woods, which means it now has 4 on it, and that is what is needed to clear it. So at least that's out of the way. It doesn't deal with the obstacle, but at least there's less risk of a predator coming and jumping out. So this card is done. It'll go to my discard pile, and I can, normally a different ranger would have to go after each of my actions, but since I'm by myself, I get to keep going. Now I don't have any awareness or fitness, so I cannot do this hunt test, and I cannot do the basic traverse test, and there are no cards that provide tests for me to do anything else other than the Northern Outpost. Actually, I could use my focus for that, but there's an obstacle in the way. Oh, I should go ahead and use this. My Prodigy of the Floating Tower roll card has the ability that I can exhaust it to choose a manifestation in my discard to add to my hand. So I'll just go ahead and pick up that manifestation card that I just played. I can do that once per round. I don't think I'm going to be able to use my spirit, which is disappointing, but I'm going to use my focus for this focus plus reason test to remember, and scout ranger cards equal to my effort, and then draw a ranger card. I'm going to commit 1 focus. You have to commit at least 1 energy, which is from this card here, for each test. And then if I want to, I can commit these reason icons from cards in my hand. I actually don't have any, so I won't. I think that's fine. So it's just going to be a 1, and then I'm going to draw a card from this challenge deck, which I think is just off camera, but we're just going to draw 1 card from here, and it looks like this. All right, so that's not bad. So we got a +1 on focus. Since I was doing a focus test, I look at the focus section and I see that it says +1. 1 that I committed +1 from the card is going to be 2. So since my resulting effort is 2, I get to scout 2 cards, which means look at the top 2 cards of the appropriate deck. It says my ranger deck, scout ranger cards. So I'm going to look at 2. I can put them back on the top or onto the bottom, and then I will draw 1 card from my deck. I've already got a green thumb in my hand. I don't think it's going to be great, so I'll put that on the bottom. And I'm going to choose to put this static sifter back on the top of my deck, because I would like to then draw it. So that was my focus test, which was nice, but then I gotta look back at this one. This, because it has this icon here next to the sun, that's gonna be a reshuffle icon. Although I guess I need to resolve the sun first. So let's look at all the cards in play that have a yellow sun band. This is blue, red, all 3. The yellow one says, move a trail token from a feature to another feature. There are no trail tokens because we are at a ranger station. So there are no trail tokens, which means that doesn't resolve. But there is another sun here, which says if there is an odd number of progress on this feature, the strange phenomenon vanishes. Shuffle it into the path deck. Oh, wow. So there's not an odd number of progress. There's an even number, which is 0, which means that doesn't resolve either. So technically, I get a song. So I will take a song because no challenge icons No challenge effects were resolved. Then that is the reshuffle icon. So I'm going to go ahead and reshuffle that. Normally they fill up the discard pile, but because that one has a reshuffle icon, it goes straight back in. This is spent. And now I do have a way to spend my spirit, or at least some of it. I can play the Static Sifter. So it's going to cost 2 of my 3. And this is a gear. It's going to come into play. It does have 1 little square filled in out of 5. My scepter has 2, so now I have 3 out of 5 gear slots filled up. There's 2 left open though. As a response, after I add 1 or more harm to a flora, I can add a victual to this gear. It starts with 0 victuals, and I can exhaust it and use 1 victual to choose a ranger to soothe 2 fatigue. Well, the overgrown thicket is a flora, so if I try to harm it, I could be collecting victuals along the way, although I don't currently have the ability to harm it. I do have a way in my hand though, so I might need to do that. But for now, we're just going to put the Static Sifter out. And with 1 spirit left, I could do some kind of spirit test, but there's nothing to connect with. There are no beings out, so I think I just have to end this round. So we'll go into phase 3 here, which is to travel if the location had progress on it equal to or greater than its threshold of 4. Which it doesn't, but if it did, I would be able to travel. Not the case here, so we'll go into 4. I'm going to ready all my cards. Each ranger regains all energy and draws 1 ranger card. And then we go back to the top of the round where each ranger draws a path card. So we get another card, which is a buck. Oh, that's really good. So this will be one of the prey that I'm looking for. It has a presence of 1, so it'll count as 1 toward the 5 I need for the Lure Quiet mission. It is arrow pointing down, which means it's going to be within reach, right next to Riri. 3 harm threshold and 5 progress to clear. So I'll put the Sitka Buck within reach of me, and I can play ranger cards again. Oh, and I just realized I forgot one more thing, which is that during the refresh phase, a perfect day says that it needs to lose 1 cloud token. And when there are none, it will flip to the midday sun. So I'm going to lose 1 cloud cover as the day gets warmer and a bit more exhausting. All right, I think I'm going to play my Carbon Forged Trowel. So I am going to be filling up my equipment spots because I have 2 more little filled-in boxes there. Costs 2 fit, so I've got no more fit for this round. But this particular gear is able to harm flora or remove harm from flora, so I can cultivate it as necessary. So that'll help me dig through the thicket and collect victuals for the Static Sifter along the way. I can also strike at beings using it as a weapon, but it's not a very efficient weapon, so might not use it for that. Let's put that out, and then I think I would like to tend to this overgrown thicket. So I'm going to use that, well, put it right back, use that spirit plus reason test. I have to commit at least 1 spirit, and I don't want to spend a reason icon, I don't think, because I want to save them for tidying up. So I'm just going to spend all 3. You know what, let's spend 2. I'm going to spend 2 from 3 to be down at 1. So I'm just committing 2, and I'll spend no icons. Let's draw a card. This is spirit test -1, so it's just going to be a 1. So I add 1 harm here, and that's slowing me down, but also gives me more chances to collect victuals. So because I added 1 or more harm, I get 1 victual. And because this test interacted with a card along the way, I have to check the cards within reach to hinder me, basically. Riri doesn't hinder me because she's friendly, but the Sitka Buck will fatigue me for 1 because 1 is its presence. So I'm going to take the top card of my deck and put it in my fatigue stack. And then I need to resolve the crest symbol here on anything that is out. Here this says if there are 2 active predators, there are not. This just says suffer a fatigue. Okay, well, I got another fatigue then. And the Sitka Buck says if there's an active Sitka doe, the buck charges, but there is not. So that will finish that. Fortunately, no songs because this did resolve. Well, now I have 2 fatigue, so I'm going to go ahead and spend my victual that I just got to choose a ranger, and that ranger soothes 2 fatigue. So the 2 fatigue in my stat goes into my hand. So I got more stuff in my hand, but I am running through my deck a little bit faster. All right, now I'm going to play Sky Whip. We got another manifestation going on, so that is going to cost me a song, and it costs 0 awareness, but then I have to make an awareness plus conflict test. Again, I got no conflict icon. Well, I do have 1 conflict icon, but I don't think I want to play it. So I'm just going to commit my 2 awareness to this test, and I'm going to Sky Whip the Sitka Buck and add harm equal to my effort, and then exhaust it. And I've got a 2 and then a 0. So just a straight up 2. So I'll add 2 harm to the buck and then exhaust it. And then I've got to resolve the crest again. So that's another fatigue from my search mission, which is a bummer. And then I can use Riri's ability to exhaust to add 1 harm. So that'll be the 3rd harm. And the buck has a harm threshold of 3. So I'm going to save this into my lure mission over here. I've got 1 out of the 5 that I needed. And now the buck's not in my way anymore either. So I don't have to worry about getting fatigued by it. The thicket is still there. I could have tried to save some awareness to either hunt, spent my fitness so I can't do a basic traverse. So I kind of committed to just using the trowel on it. Hopefully next time I get to finish it off. I think I want to start tidying up the outpost. The thicket is going to fatigue me because it's still... Oh no, I can't even interact with it because of it's an obstacle. That is disappointing. So I think all I can really do here is just another remember test. So I'm going to spend 1 and just hopefully I get it. +1 is 2. So I get to scout 2 ranger cards again and then draw 1. I don't know if this familiar ground card is going to be useful later, but it does have 2 different icons. So I'm going to leave it on the top. I'm also going to leave Throng of Life on the top. So I'll just put them both back and then draw the Throng of Life. And then I need to resolve the mountain icon. It says if this test added progress, add an additional progress, but it did not. This says remove a trail token from a feature, but there are none. And this says discard a progress from this feature and it fatigues you, but there's no progress here. So that doesn't happen either. So I think I get a song. Not bad. And then I will use my roll to return a manifestation to my hand and get that Sky Whip back. Just got 1 spirit left and nothing to do with it, so I'll end the round, ready all the cards and regain my energy and draw a card and remove another cloud. I need to draw a path card and it is a wolfhound. We got a predator. It's going to be within reach of me. If there's another predator, this comes into play exhausted, but there is not. And it's got a big 4 harm threshold and 6 progress. So good thing I got that Sky Whip back. I might be whipping this away. We'll see. Yeah, I think I will Sky Whip. My hand currently, I've got the Sky Whip 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand. So I got to be willing to spend them at some point, right? I'm going to commit 2 awareness to this. And I guess also the Shape the Earth for its conflict symbol. So I have 3 effort committed. And now I need to draw looking at green. So -1. Dang. So -1 is going to be only 2 harm added to the wolfhound. It does exhaust it though. So that is actually good. So I don't have to worry about it for this round. We'll resolve the crest, which is going to give me another fatigue. Wolfhound also has a crest icon, but it is now exhausted. Now I have 2. Oh, I had to spend my song for that. Good thing I had one because I was not remembering that. Then, now I don't have to worry about the Wolfhound for now. I'll go ahead and exhaust Riri to add a 3rd harm to it. So next round I can just exhaust her to add the 4th. I'll use my Trowels test, Spirit plus Reason, to tend to the overgrown thicket. And I think I'll just spend all 3 this time. So 3 plus 1 is 4. That will add 4 harm to the thicket, which will clear it. And that also adds a Victual to my Static Sifter. The Sun is going to be remove trail tokens. If there's an odd number of progress here, neither of those resolves, so I get a song. So I may as well use my Victual to soothe 2 fatigue, get more cards in hand. And now I would like to traverse the Trick of the Light. Or I could tidy up. This does have a presence of 0, so it won't fatigue me. If I could use that Fit plus Traverse test, I can add progress to the Trick of the Light. I don't think I can get to 8. I've got 2. You know what? Let's go for it. So well, I don't know if I can hit 8, but I might. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with 4 exploration icons there, spending those from my hand. So that'll bring my 2 up to 6. And we're looking at red. So +1, dang, it's gonna be 7. And I got a sun here, which means I'm gonna shuffle it back in because 7 is odd. But I had a contingency plan for that, and that is to play the Throng of Life. So again, spending my song. To play Manifestation, I also have to spend my focus, so I'm not gonna be able to try to tidy up this round. But this is going to let me change the modifier from the card. So instead of doing a +1, which actually would be good, but now it's going to be odd, I have to choose the 0 instead. I don't know if any cards in the deck have +2. I should probably check for that. Now that I'm going to be reshuffling, you know what? I'll go ahead and take this opportunity, since I have to reshuffle anyway, to just see, are there any +2s in the deck, or is it only -2s? But yeah, this is a -2 for awareness specifically, and then a reshuffle because of the -2. But I'm not resolving awareness, I'm resolving fitness, but I'm going to choose to use the 0 so that it is an even number. So let's add 6 progress instead of 7, because I have to resolve the sun after this, and the sun says if there's an odd number of progress on this, shuffle it into the deck. Well, obviously I don't want that to happen, so let's keep it even. Do have to resolve the sun, move a trail token, and then this doesn't happen, so I'll get a song back. This is discarded, and let's take a look. Nope, no +2s. There's +1s, -1s, 0s, and then I think one of each color has a -2, which all trigger the reshuffles. So I guess I did not have a chance. I was thinking that if there were +2s and I was going to be able to choose which number to use, maybe there's a chance I could turn my 6 into an 8, but I guess that was never a possibility. It would have needed a 7 to potentially turn into an 8. Couldn't quite get there. Now I just have 4 cards in my hand. I'll go ahead and return a manifestation, and I do like the Throng of Life, so I'm going to grab that. So let's ready all cards in play. Now that does include this Wolfhound. Regain my energy, draw a card. Also have to remove a cloud from a perfect day, which means it flips into a midday sun. And now sun's icons will fatigue me. It starts with 0 clouds, but it will build up to 3 and then flip back. But I do have the locate ability, locate shade. I can add cloud to this and soothe fatigue if I want to spend focus on that, which is actually a good way to spend focus. Basically, draw a card. Instead of drawing a card from your deck, you can draw a card from your fatigue stack. But it does have you have to hit a 2, whereas the basic focus test is you just need a 1. If it doesn't say a number, it means 1. And it would let you scout. So there's definitely a trade-off there. Go into the top of the round, draw a path card, and it's another buck. So that's good and bad. Well, I guess it's mostly good because I do want to find prey. It's just now I have to deal with it. So we'll put that out. And I'm just going to start off by using Riri to put a harm on the Wolfhound. Just get that cleared out. That doesn't really benefit me. It's just that it's gone now. I think I want to avoid the buck using this bottom basic action. Spend awareness plus conflict icons to exhaust it. I don't have my vortex, my sky whip. I mean, I guess I could pick it back up and throw it at the Sitka buck. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. I'll pick it back up and play that on the buck. So I'm going to have to spend my song again. I'll spend 2 awareness. And do I want to spend any conflict icons? I mean, I get to exhaust it, and its presence is 1. Well, I think its presence doesn't really matter for this. I can't fail. Well, I can fail. Basically, because this test doesn't have a number, the default number is 1. So I just need a 1 or more to add that much progress and exhaust it. If I get a 0 result, then I would do nothing. So if I do get the -2, then that would mess me up. But that seems unlikely. So I'm not going to commit any cards. Let's just check our awareness. +1, so I got a 3, which means I'll add 3 harm to it, and that actually is enough to clear it. So let's put that over here with the lure mission, and that is done. I do have to resolve the mountain, which says remove a trail token, and that's it. So I actually get my song back. This has been a nice little back and forth of my song economy. I'm going to try to finish the trick of the light. Let's see what happens. Look at this artwork again. I feel like I have a good idea of what that creature might be, this furry monster, but let's commit 2 fitness to a traverse test to add progress. Traverse has an X, and X refers to the presence of the card with which you're interacting. So I only fail on a negative number because this presence is 0 here, which means I feel pretty safe with a 2. But if I get a -1, like even if I got a 0, that's not a failure in this case, so I wouldn't get an injury. But if I get a -1, I don't finish it, and then it would also be an odd number, and I risk shuffling it back in. So I will commit this 1 card for its exploration icon. Just don't want a -2 here on fit. Got a +1, so I didn't need it anyway. The -2 actually was on spirit, so this will be a reshuffle. But I'm adding 3 now, which is going to put it at 9, which will clear it, and that means I'm going to read 39 again. I'm going to 39.5. You move through the trees, not sure if you're actually following something. You're not even sure you really saw a being at all. You look for tracks, signs of passage, anything to guide your way. Then suddenly you come around a tree and find yourself face to face with a tall, furry humanoid with features that seem to be a blend between human and something else. You've heard stories of the Yeti before, but you thought they were just that, stories. You look at the Yeti for a long moment and it looks back at you. Its eyes meet yours and you feel oddly at peace, as if you and this Yeti share an ancient kinship. You begin to speak, and in response it rumbles in a low, somehow non-threatening manner. Then it steps back and slips behind a tree. You move to follow, but it's no longer there. Something glints on the ground, however, right where the being had been standing. Gain Translocator reward card and write Met an Interloper on the campaign tracker. If Cordo Ranger Veteran is in play, no, he's not. Otherwise, you try to follow the Yeti, but it's vanished again. You're going to need someone more skilled in tracking than you to keep following this thing. You think Cordo, back at Lone Tree, might be able to help. So I could go back to Lone Tree Station, search for Cordo, and I assume the campaign rules would tell me that I could bring him with me back to look for this again. Well, that is certainly interesting. Now I have met an interloper, and I get the translocator, which requires 3 focus, not only to put into play, but you have to have, it has a requirement of 3 focus to even put in your deck, which I definitely do not meet that requirement. But it would come with 3 shifts, has 2 exploration icons and a reason, and it says you can exhaust it and use a shift when you perform a test, dodge. When you perform a test, dodge each card in play, but if you fail the test, suffer an injury. Kind of cool. It does take up 2 out of 5 gear slots, though. So that'll join my cards, although this one will never make it into my deck unless my focus somehow changes to 3. That clears Trick of the Light, and now I need to resolve the crest, and this one will say, I suffer 1 fatigue, unfortunately. And a reshuffle puts my little tiny discard pile back into the deck. All right, so let's start tidying up. We've cleared everything out, so we can get to the outpost easily, getting in and out and clearing everything. So I need to do this focus plus tidy test. I only have 1 focus, or plus reason. I do have 2 reason icons, but I just need to get a 1. Discard 1 neglect on success. On fail, it fatigues you. But all I need is a 1 because no number is printed. I'm committing a 1, so -1 would mess me up. But there's no reason to commit 2, I feel like, unless I'm really scared of the -2, which I'm not. So it could mess me up, but I'm just going to commit 1. It's a second copy of Static Sifter, which I already have out. So it's not going to do me much good otherwise. Let's check our blue focus. It is a -1. But 2 minus 1 is still 1. 1 is what I needed. So I get to remove 1 neglect. And then I have to resolve the sun, which gives me 1 fatigue from the midday sun. And that is it. Now that was my focus for the round. And again, 3 spirit with nothing to do with it. Yeah, I feel like spirit, the ability to connect to other beings, is more relevant when there are other beings around. This is a lot of wilderness and nature stuff. So let's regain my energy, draw a card, get 1 cloud, and draw a path, which is the Caustic Mulcher. Not what we were looking for. So it's going to be along the way, though. If my ranger icon is on it, I cannot travel and I cannot move except with a fit plus rest test, or fit plus conflict to rest free either myself or another being that's attached. So I can kind of ignore it for now, but if I hit a sun icon, it's going to attach itself to Riri or another being that might be out. So I don't want that to happen. But with 6 harm and 9 progress threshold, it's going to be tough to get rid of. I get my hurricane back, and Riri cannot put harm on it because she's not in the same area. I can use my awareness to just avoid it, and I think that's fine. Although I do need to get a 3, and I've only got 2. So I actually don't love that plan. So I guess I'm picking back up my Sky Whip. I don't have to get 3 because the test here is an X. On avoid, it's an X, referring to the 3 on Caustic Mulcher. But the test on Sky Whip is just the default of 1, and it does get to exhaust it. So I think 2 is okay. -2 will mess me up, though, but let's go for it. 2, 0, so it's a 2, so I get to add 2 harm and exhaust it. So I think that's good. Do have to spend that song. And then resolve mountain, which I think is actually good. Remove a trail, doesn't happen, so I get my song back. So that was good. Now I'm free to tidy up. Again, I'm looking for a 2, so I'm going to do 1 and then commit 1. So the second copy of Scepter of Harmony has a reason icon on it. So a 2, looking at blue, is a 0. So 2 is a success, so I get to remove another neglect counter. Resolving the sun, though, means I take a fatigue, which is disappointing because that also means I don't get a song. And then I think I want to start traversing the location. Let's commit 2 fit. Although fit does use an X, which refers to the presence of the card you're interacting with, which is a 2 in this case for this location. So I do need a 2. A -1 would give me an injury. So I'm not thrilled about it, but I guess I'm going to commit an exploration icon. Gives me a 3, so checking for red. 0, 3 is equal to or greater than 2, so I get to add that much progress. So I'll put 3 progress on here. It has a threshold of 4, so I couldn't travel at the end of this round if I wanted to. Perceptive says after I spend it, I get 1 awareness. I don't know what I'm going to do with that awareness, but I do get it. And then to resolve the mountain, which doesn't do anything, so I get a second song. That's new. And 3 spirit. I mean, I could try to connect with it. I guess there's no reason not to. Connecting doesn't have a fail penalty, so I don't need to commit any cards. Let's just, we'll give it a shot. Let's throw 3 spirit at it, see if we can connect with it while we're beating it up. So 3, looking at yellow, is a +1, so that's 4. 4 is a success because it's 3 or more, so we'll add 4 progress to it. But then I have to resolve the sun again, which gives me another fatigue. And actually my deck is already getting low-ish, down to 9. And it's a reshuffle. With my awareness, I could use Riri's ability to survey the path ahead, but that would make me draw a path card. I don't know if I want a path card. And I've got a 2 out of 3 chance of hitting another exhaustion, either from the sun or the crest. So let's just not do that. End the round. Ready, energize, draw, add a cloud, and draw a path card, which is a sunberry bramble. All right, so this is probably good. Let's see, 2 harm threshold, 3 progress, presence of 1, awareness plus reason. I can pluck 2, the thorn ringed fruit, to add harm to this feature and soothe 2 fatigue. But if you fail, the feature fatigues you. This is going to be within reach of me, so yeah, I think that's good. That'll help me. Let me use my sifter and my trowel for being a forager, and it will let me soothe some fatigue, get some more cards in my hand, let me make use of these 4 fatigue I've been building up. I'm a little worried about the mulcher though. I wonder if I should do something about that first. 2 out of 6 harm or 4 out of 9 progress. Do I do another cyclone sky whip? Yeah. Although I need conflict, don't I? I have it. All right, I'm going to return it to my hand. I'm going to play it, spending a song. We're going to do 2 plus 1 is 3, and I only fail on a negative number. Or I fail on a 0. Do I need to commit then? Maybe 2 is fine. Now, let's leave it. So looking for green. It is the -2. Wow. So I'm glad I committed 1 because 3 minus 2 is 1. I need a 1. So I succeeded. I'm adding 1 harm. But so that's not a lot, but at least I get to exhaust it. I also have to resolve the sun, which is another fatigue, but at least it is dealt with. And then shuffle this back in. Man, I'm already feeling like I'm getting toward the end of the day, and I'm going to fail on this lure mission again. Also, I can't wait around forever to search for this guy. I only have a certain number of days. I've marked day 4 in the campaign log. So I'm pretty sure if I don't find him today, I really need to find him tomorrow. Spent too long cleaning up the outpost. Speaking of which, let's clean up the outpost. Gotten this far. I'm out of those icons. Actually, yeah, I don't have any more reason icons, and I do want to commit 1, I think. So let's try to find 1 by soothing some fatigue. Oh, but I just spent all my awareness, and this was an awareness test. But I can use the Carbon Forged Trowel's Spirit plus Reason test. Well, that doesn't help me. Well, it helps me collect victuals for the static sifter. So I guess that's good enough. I'm going to use this Carbon Forged Trowel. Based on my reading of it, you'd have to spend at least 1 energy every time you use it, but it doesn't exhaust it. And with 3 spirit, I should be able to do it 3 times. Just use 1 spirit each time. And the more different times I do it, as long as I add harm each time, static sifter can collect stuff. Although if I do get a -1, it ends up being 0. I had no harm, don't get a victual, and I might resolve a challenge effect. So maybe 2 makes more sense. That might just clear it in 1 shot, but at least I still get to soothe 2. So yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to do. Or I mean, I guess if I'm going to only do it once, I may as well just try to make sure So I do get the -2. Sure, I'll just commit all three. 3 and -1 is going to be 2. So I add 2 harm here, which means that will clear it. And I get to collect a Vittle. So I didn't get to use the ability of the card of the Bramble, but I get to use the ability of my Sifter. That's the main thing. So I'm adding harm just to trigger the Sifter. I didn't really care about clearing it necessarily. Although it would fatigue me when I go to tidy up. So I guess that makes sense too. So I'll go ahead and use my Vittle to soothe 2. Get 2 of those 5 cards into my hand, which do not have reason icons on them. Oh, and I do need to resolve the Sun, which is another fatigue. Man, well, at least this is the last round with this midday sun out. I'm a little afraid to tidy up because I can only commit 1. I need a 1, but on a -1 or -2, I don't make progress this round and I get fatigued again. But with no reason icons, I don't have an option other than to just not do it. So I guess I'm going to do it. Looking for a 0 or plus on blue. Got the 0. Okay. So 1 plus 0 is just 1, which is enough to remove a neglect. When there's no longer neglect on this location, read 4.1. If you fixed up Northern Outpost, I haven't been given that yet, so it takes hours of hacking back overgrowth and scrubbing the floor to get the outpost back in working order. You breathe a sigh of relief at a job well done. Future visitors to this outpost will have a much easier time reaching the structure now. Each ranger soothes 3 fatigue, discard the deep woods if it's in play, and record fixed up Northern Outpost on the campaign tracker. Fix up Northern Outpost. But no big rewards. Soothing 3 is nice. I do have the fatigue to get, which will help me now because I can go ahead and I have to resolve the crest, which is another fatigue, and then I can traverse. And if I get at least 1 here, I can leave, which I guess I'm ready to do now. And you know what? I think I'm going to be ending the day here. I've just got 5 cards left in my deck. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this lure quiet mission. I've got 2 out of 5, so I'm going to have to give up again. And the search mission I haven't even started on, so I'll probably make the searching my priority for day 3 because I really want to make sure I get that done before day 4, because the rules did have me note a entry for day 4, and I don't want to have to read that. It seems kind of ominous. So I may as well just commit all my exploration icons because I'm not really going to be doing anything else. So let's make it a 6. I mean, theoretically I could. What does this search need to do? When a card with, so I need to get features. Each feature will have 2 trails, and when I clear the feature, I get to put the tokens onto this card. If it has 4 or more, I presumably would complete it. There might be another step to the mission. I don't know. Seems like it's better to start after a fresh new day. Just 5 cards in my deck. I'm going to draw 1. Regardless of what this, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to complete this traverse test, but it might be a red or a yellow, which either way would give me a fatigue. So then I'm down to 3 cards in my deck. If I get no fatigue for 3 rounds, then I would have that long to clear 2 features if I can find them. Riri can help with her survey ability, but I'm also at about 75 minutes recording time now, and based on what I said at the beginning of the video, I think that's going to be the tiebreaker to just say, this is a nice clean ending. We finished the Northern Outpost, we tied it up, and now we're going to move on and we'll have a new mission for a new day. So I'm going to attempt to traverse the Northern Outpost with a 6. Plus 1 is 7, so I'll add 7 progress here. I will get fatigued, but then I will go ahead and end the round, going into step 3 travel and not skipping it this time, because I do have progress equal to or exceeding the threshold. Here is what, 3 plus 7 more, so it's at like 10. So I may travel, remove all path cards from play area, choose a new location, assemble the path deck for the new location, but instead I'm going to use the rules for ending the day. The day can end in several ways. Choose to camp. When you successfully travel, the group can decide to camp for the night. When the day ends, your current play session is over. 1 day of campaign time passes. Check off the next day on the campaign tracker. I'll check off the day I just finished. Save your location by storing it with your ranger deck or writing it down on the campaign tracker. And I guess it's somewhere else that says the rules about the fact that, swapping rewards in and out on page 31. If you end the day by camping, you can use the downtime to reorganize your gear and think on your experiences. Before you start the next day, choose up to 2 copies of each reward card that you've unlocked and add them to your deck. For each reward card you add, you must choose a non-malady card to remove from your deck. I do need to decide where I'm traveling to. I'm leaving the Northern Outpost. So we'll get the valley map out all the way up north here, and I can choose to go here to Mount Nim, or I can choose to go to here to Aatrox Mountain. I haven't actually gone to either of those because I came here by way of the Golden Shore, and I kind of cheated to get there by taking a boat from White Sky. So I haven't been to either of those locations next. Neither of them seems to be a ranger station, which is good because I'll be able to search for Lun there, either one. So I can either play a forest path deck along with Aatrox Mountain or a mountains path deck along with Mount Nim. I believe the card about the Yeti was saying that there's somebody at Lone Tree Station I could talk to. That does sound pretty interesting. So I might go toward Aatrox Mountain so that I can go to Lone Tree Station, which is where I started, but search for that guy and see if we can go back on a Yeti hunt, for example, perhaps. So let's say I'm going to Aatrox Mountain, which means I'm going to go ahead and assemble my new path deck. Aatrox Mountain is my location, and the forest will be my path deck. So I'm going to erase my old current position. Oh, this eraser is really bad. I wrote in pencil, but I didn't account for the fact that I need a good eraser. Aatrox Mountain and a forest. Cross out day 2. Put away this caustic mulcher, and unfortunately these Sitka bucks are going to be gone. Oh, and we're already in the woods, so I guess we're going to be reusing the woods. I said forest, but I think woods is the correct term. We don't need the Northern Outpost cards, though. One of the Northern Outpost cards is Lun, so that stays there. Keep the forest. Keep the weather, because the perfect day is starting on day 3. Day 3 starts on the perfect day as well. Put the deep woods into pivotal locations section. And because Aatrox Mountain is not pivotal, I'm actually going to need 3 cards from the Valley stack. So I'll shuffle this up, and I'm not going to look at them, but I'll go ahead and get my path deck ready. So rather than having a specific signature set, we're just going to take 3 from the Valley, things you could meet anywhere. Keep that hidden from me. Put the weather on top for next time. Put away the Northern Outpost. Find Aatrox Mountain. That'll be where we're headed next time. And let's take a look at my reward cards. Well, we just saw the translocator, which we know I can't use because I don't have 3 focus. Missions can also be put away. Put this location, Aatrox Mountain, on the top. All right, let's see. We've got the Ranger badge, which says it's got 2 exploration and a reason that it can commit 4. Costs 2 spirit, which I have. I got 3. And then 3 XP tokens. And I can exhaust this to ready my roll, which means I can return 2 manifestations to my hand per round, which seems really good. Also, it's an attachment rather than a gear, so it doesn't take up any gear spots. There's no little filled in squares, which is good, because I filled up my gear just now, and I don't want to have to not be able to play something. Speaking of gear, we've got Artel's Vaulting Rod. So this costs 1 fit. I've got 2, so I can play this on a given round. It has 2 vault tokens, and I can exhaust this and use 1 to exhaust an obstacle, which is nice. So temporarily jump over something. When it has no vaults left, it's discarded, so most gear sticks around. This one doesn't. And for awareness plus conflict, I can fish if there's water in play, soothe 2 fatigue, and add 2 progress to a water card, which is pretty good. But this takes 3 gear slots. It's got nice icons, though, for committing. It's got 3 different options. So the question is, what cards might I be taking out if I wanted to add these in? I feel like if I want to add gear, it makes sense to want to remove gear, but I don't really want to remove the gear. I like the ones I have. I can't give up my conduit, because then I wouldn't be able to play any manifestations. So that doesn't make sense. So definitely have to keep my conduit. I don't think I want to get rid of anything that costs spirit, because as in the game I just played, I have a lot of spirit left over. So I want to be able to use that potentially. This is giving me another way to spend my awareness, but only if there's water around. I feel like the basic attribute cards might be the ones that get the cut first. So all the other cards have like effects. This one I actually was able to use to good use, and I have 3 spirits, so theoretically this one could be pretty good. Versatile can be used for anything. It's a spirit or a connect icon, or it can be anything if I spend a fatigue for it. Or I've got bold, which is double exploration. I don't think I can give that one up. So I think the one maybe taking the brunt here is going to be perceptive. Is an exploration icon, but the Ranger's badge has 2. And then the ability to get 1 awareness back is cute, but it's kind of been awkward. So I think I'm going to take that out for Ranger badge. Do I want the Vaulting Rod? I mean, I want to try it out. I think I'm going to take out Local Fair. So this costs an awareness. It has 1 exploration. And when a ranger performs a test, they can add harm to flora to dodge each being in the space as the flora, which is nice. But how many beings are really going to be out? That's another way to add a Viddle, because I'm adding harm to flora. I don't know the rules about getting back. Like if I change my mind, I want this back. I'm not sure the rules about that. I think you have to go to an elder technically, but I'll probably fudge it and just say, you know what? I'm going to break the rule. The rules say that these cards are meant to go back into my collection, which means they're not really available for me to get back, I believe. But I'm going to just add them to my, they call it the Ranger displaced cards. So reward cards that you're not actively using, I guess, are the displaced cards. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding things. But I'm going to put these cards into the displaced section. So if I want them back, they'll be there for me to get back. So Local Fair and Perceptive are out. Artel's Vaulting Rod and the Ranger Badge are in. We'll see how that plans out next time as I try to search in the Aatrox Mountains for Lun and hopefully find him on day 3 before something potentially bad happens on day 4. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and bye.